everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Cynical Challenge podcast. My name is Greyson and pleased to be joining you from Edmonton, Alberta. Just a two-man show today. Jeff Salisbury is on the line from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Sally, how are we today?
Oh man, after that win yesterday, we're flying high. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. We're recording this on a Wednesday, just after Canada's played their two World Cup qualifiers, and now looking forward to the next ones. Unfortunately, Jeff Paulus is tied up with the million other things he's doing. He's also added substitute teaching back to his resume. So busy guy. We couldn't get him on this week, but look for him hopefully after the two matches with Haiti. But Sally, why don't we go back and talk about, first off, the Aruba match, a comfortable 7-0 win for Canada in what was basically just equated to a warm-up, didn't it?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it was really, it was honestly a warm-up match for the Suriname match. I think it's the best way of looking at it. So, we just dominated right from the opening whistle. I mean, did they even register a shot? I'm trying to remember if they registered a shot.
I'm not 100% sure. And admittedly, this is not one that I watched because it was on just a terrible timing with work. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to stream it, and I wasn't worried about this match anyway. But
No.
The 11 was completely different from what we saw against Suriname. But yeah, you're right. It was all Canada against Aruba, and I mean, as should be against a country that's outside the top 200 in the FIFA rankings.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the biggest things that came out of that Aruba match for me is the poor performance by Liam Miller. I was really surprised at, honestly, just how poor of a performance he had. He has been a ray of sunshine for us in the past, and not this time. This time he was just simply not up to the task, it seemed. He wasn't delivering good balls on quarters. He wasn't making anything really happen in that left wing position. So it's concerning. I mean, he's had a really good season with Charlton on loan, and you would expect that, having that good of a season, that would translate into being able to have some good performances for the national team, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. Difficult one for him that day. So hopefully it's just a little one-off poor performance, and the next time we see him on the pitch for the boys, he'll be lights out like he normally is. So
there were lots of positives, though, obviously, in a 7-0 win. And Lucas Cavallini had a couple of goals. When maybe the best 11 came on late in the match, they really started to pepper the net and scored some more goals as well. I know Alfonso Davies had one. I think Jonathan David scored as well. But just your thoughts on some of the positives there.
Yeah, for sure. When we'll call them the heavy hitters came on in the latter part of the second half, I mean, man, if they'd started, we might have broken that 11-0 record we had against Cayman Islands. Like it was just, I mean, I can't remember who it was that made the meme, but somebody had a screenshot of Fonzie and Johnny David ready to come on the sidelines. And it's like, if you're an Aruba player and you see these two about to come on in the 65th minute, like, what are you thinking?
I mean, like, what a treat for us to be able to bring those guys off the bench, though, in that match.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think they each got one. I'm pretty sure Johnny got one and Fonzie got one. Maybe Fonzie got the one, although I don't know. I wonder if that one's ultimately going to be credited to Fonzie because it really was deflected heavily off of that Aruban defender.
Right, yeah.
Had he not touched it, I don't know if it would have actually found the back of the net, but I mean, whatever. I'd rather that get attributed to Fonzie and help push his numbers up because, it's just absolutely incredible watching what that kid is capable of doing. And he's still only 20. And I still always remind myself the fact that he's only 20 right now. And he has, I'll get into it further. I practically have a love letter to him, but I mean, yeah, when he came on in that Aruba match, the result already was never in doubt, but at that point it was almost like overkill. It's like the Krusty Burglar meme of stop, he's already dead,
Yeah. I mean, no, you're 100% right. And like you said, the one picture with, the guy holding up the substitutes board with Fonzie and Johnny just hanging out on the sidelines. Yep, ready to come in. And those two were really the key in the Suriname match, because I don't think Canada as a whole played amazing or up to their maybe like max potential. But somebody noted on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but it was a really good point. They noted that sometimes talent for one or two guys will carry an entire team. You see it in other sports, and Canada's never had that luxury before. Our best players have always been either defenders, goalkeepers, and Atiba, if he was holding or whatever. But so now we have players who can get forward, and they're our best players, and that's really exciting. And obviously that was huge in the Suriname match with Fonzie getting one and David getting the hat trick.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to pop back for a second to the Aruba match just to highlight the performance of, and Peter Galindo actually does this in his article for Sportsnet. He highlights the performances of both Mark-Anthony Kaye and David Weatherspoon, who were both fantastic in midfield. I mean, and I'll actually parallel this into the Suriname match when Mac came on in that Suriname match. He was finding passes for, I mean, his pass is what I'm trying to recall if it was his or Fonzie's pass that sends Johnny D in for the goal where David just burns past the defender.
It was Fonzie, the second goal they scored, but David's first. It was Fonzie with the pass.
Right, and I know Mac had some key passes in some of those moves, and I mean, in this upcoming tie against Haiti, I simply can't see any reason for Mark-Anthony Kaye not to start. He is just so instrumental at pulling the strings. Like I just think, pardon me, of a midfield with him and Hutch, and what an absolute dominant midfield that would be. Like that is now suddenly, in my opinion, we would have the most lethal attack in CONCACAF and potentially the best midfield in CONCACAF. And again, our weakness is coming back to our I would say our center backs, because we have some of the best fullbacks in CONCACAF as well. I mean, I'd argue that Larea is potentially the best fullback in all of CONCACAF right now.
Right, but the center back pair that we had in that Suriname match, for not having many caps or playing together at all, I thought did, a decent enough job. Kennedy and Johnson. Yeah,
Kennedy, Johnson, and Henry, I think, looked pretty solid. I mean, they didn't have too much to do. We did get lucky on Suriname's one break, not early in the game, but a little bit later in the game. It was at some point during the second half. Suriname broke in 3-on-3, and that actually got a little scary if that Suriname striker, and I want to say it was Hasselbank, I think.
Makes sense. Yeah, he's the one who gets most of their goals. Yeah.
Yeah, if he hadn't popped that over the bar, then it probably would have ended 4-1, maybe 5-1. But regardless, we got lucky on that one. We got lucky on Becker's shot off the bar.
Right.
But back a couple of years ago, previous World Cup qualifying cycles, in games against countries like Suriname, that shot off the bar would have gone in.
Right.
But not with this latest team. There are things that are happening with this squad that we haven't had that luxury of luck happening for us before. And when that ball went off the bar but stayed out, I was just like, this game is ours. Like, they're gonna get that chance, and it's gonna wake us up. And it did. And it woke us up. All of a sudden, everybody was just like, okay, we need to refocus here. And they did. And then we owned the match. From that ball off the crossbar forward, we owned 99% of the match. They had that 1% where they managed to pop that shot over the bar from in close. But other than that, that was it. We owned that entire match.
Bit of a wake-up call for the boys then, obviously. And I didn't see that initially. I saw it did like a halftime highlight reel thing on the stream that I had on my phone at work, which I'm sure was totally fine, but whatever. But yeah, and I watched it. It hits the top of the bar and bounces right on the line, and they freeze it right on the line, and you could see that, yeah, it beats Milan clean, but doesn't bounce in. But on that previous chance you were talking about that we mentioned, we think is Hasselbank. I thought Kennedy did just enough to bother him to force that shot over. So I'll give him credit for racing back and doing that. But I wanted to talk about the third goal, which I think was my favorite. Just the way Fonzie makes the run, dashing into the box, gets bothered by a defender, stumbles, gets up, still has the ball, finds Johnny. Like, I mean, come on, like it's so unfair.
This is kind of where my love letter to Fonzie comes in.
Dear Fonzie.
Basically, well, actually, it's more. I should say it's a love letter to Canadian sports fans in the sense of, or a wake up letter that he has now. So when he first came onto the scene as a teenager, he was special because he had this incredible raw athletic talent at his disposal. Like in that game, I always think back to that match against French Guiana when he scored a brace in that one, if I recall correctly. Nice Habs Cup, by the way.
Thank you. Third round
of the conference finals. Anyway, we just lost a bunch of viewers, but
I think without JP, there's probably people that are like, we don't care about these two clowns anyway. So
that's right. So when he was a teenager, he had this raw athletic talent at his disposal, where in that game against French Guiana, he was just simply able to outpace anybody on the pitch. They could not keep up with him. And that one, I remember the breakaway goal, he just simply ran past that one defender, beat him to the ball, and was just gone and was in. And, so that was Fonzie 1.0. And now we're starting to see, or now we're seeing the emergence of Fonzie 2.0. And what Fonzie 2.0 is not only does he have the that raw athletic talent and capability, but now he's coupled it with the ability with good ball control and dribbling abilities. So he's got these two new things at his disposal, and he's using them to their fullest potential at this point. So he's now become a player where if he wants something to happen, he's going to make it happen because he has the physical tools and the skill now to be able to do that. So he has now breached that initial 1.0 echelon into this 2.0. And that's the player that we saw in the Suriname match. I mean, on both of his goals, he made things happen because he willed them to happen. So in that first goal, his goal, I should say, he simply physically beats Kelvin Leerdam to the ball. Leerdam ultimately gets a touch on the ball and puts it off Fonzie's leg, which is why he stumbles. But still, like, it wasn't in doubt. Like when Johnny D played that pass, that through ball, it was a little light, but Fonzie still made it happen. Like, that is the definition of an X factor. And that's what we have. We have an international, a world-class quality X factor on this team. And it is, honestly, it's astonishing. It is astonishing to watch what he is able to do. What he's been doing now in the last 16 to 18 months in the Bundesliga, he's now starting to do for Canada fully. Whereas he was doing that a bit for Canada before, he was still pretty raw when he was a teenager. But now that he's had the 2 years with Bayern under his belt, he's now starting to bring that to Canada. And just like, it almost makes me giddy because I just think of how absolutely, what are the heights? Like, what is the highest height this kid is going to reach? Because there's still probably going to be a 3.0.
Yep.
And there might even be a 4.0. You know what I mean? Like, it's just astonishing.
We're kind of getting spoiled at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And I mean, I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring in this two-legged tie with Haiti. Like, I honestly, and pardon my French, but I hope he rips them a new asshole because they deserve it. After all the gloating and bullshit they got to do after that Gold Cup comeback, we need to rip them a new asshole and just put that to bed.
Yes.
Because it was garbage.
I love your point about Fonzie, because one of the first highlights we saw of him from Bayern that really made people pay attention was he was 20 yards behind someone, and he raced down, made an incredible sliding tackle, and everyone's like, okay, sure, he's got pace, what's next? And we're seeing it. We're seeing what's next, like you pointed out. Now he's got the touch. Now he's got, the ability to move in offensively. I'm sure the decision making is definitely coming along. Like, these are things that we're going to see from him as Fonzie continues to evolve. And like you said, as good as he is now, where's he going to be in 4, 5, 6 years when he's actually in his prime of his, football career? Like, it just kind of blows your mind at like the potential that this guy has. And Jonathan David's not far behind either. He's what, a year or two older, and he just seems to be gaining more and more and more confidence, because his start at Lille was slow, but you could see him grow in confidence as the season went on. And now look what he's doing for Canada, and the two of them just have seemingly already found this chemistry as they played together for many years on various youth squads. So obviously really exciting. Why don't we switch focus now to the Haiti match? Haiti just got through Nicaragua. They won 1-0. I believe the match was played at Port-au-Prince, and apparently it just rained the whole time, and it was a disaster. And it's supposed to rain from now till Saturday, and they're going to play at 3:00 Eastern in the middle of the day in Saturday in Port-au-Prince in Haiti for the first leg. And it's going to be sweltering. It's going to be a real test of attrition for our guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hopefully there's not too much sound from the background bleeding through right now. They're doing the lawn in our complex.
It sounds okay.
But yeah, so everything what it's showing is showing nothing but thunderstorms in Port-au-Prince here from Haiti's match, from yesterday all the way past Saturday. So like the pitch was already getting waterlogged for their win over Guatemala?
Nicaragua.
Yeah. So pitch is already waterlogged. It's not stopped. Apparently it hasn't stopped raining since before that game kicked off. And it's not going to stop raining until after the match is done against us. So, and not only that, but Haiti is, so we have a brutally waterlogged pitch. We have a country that is literally being run by gangs right now. And we have the fact that the national team has to basically hire its own security force.
Yeah.
So, and then we have COVID. We have COVID that's kind of rampantly out of control in Haiti right now. So my first question is why is this game even being played in Haiti? How is CONCACAF allowing this to even be happening?
Right.
Because it just simply seems to go against any type of conventional wisdom you could possibly have. And I mean, hats off to the boys for going into this and playing through it, because nobody in world football, like if you had a European nation that had to travel to Haiti right now with all these conditions, I do not think it would happen.
Absolutely
do not think it would happen. So why do we still have such a gutless confederation that allows this kind of stuff to happen? And I mean, how's it ever going to change? I honestly don't think it will, because I just do not think that there's any will in this confederation for it to change. And I think one of the big reasons is because you have so many Caribbean votes and even Central American votes that control the confederation. They understand that stuff like the crap like this is their competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So they would far rather put the lives of other countries' players at risk and hopefully win the game. I mean, that's insanity. You do not get that anywhere else in world football. You don't. Maybe in Africa, maybe, but I don't even know if the African Federation allows that kind of garbage to happen. So, yeah. I mean,
there was a whole thing with Belize, right? Like they had troubles when they had to go to Port-au-Prince and play, and that was even a couple of months ago. So I don't imagine it's any better now. That's for sure.
No, well, and the weather is horrendous. I mean, it's going to be really tough conditions. So my expectations for the match are very moderate in that, I certainly do hope that we get a result. If we end up losing 1-0, I don't think that's the end of the world. I don't think that's reason to hit the panic button and start freaking out. if we come away with a draw, that's great. And I think we're definitely capable of doing that. I definitely think we are capable of stopping this Haitian side from scoring. And God willing, we actually come away with a win, like a 1-0 win. Would take it. At this point, honestly, I was saying even against the Suriname squad, and Steve Standor made the point that, there are older players who were looking at kind of one last shot at international football and making a name for themselves. And, I was going into yesterday's match with what I felt was a fairly moderate 2-0 win scoreline. And they surprised me. It was a little sketchy there for the first 15 minutes, but and then all of a sudden the game was without doubt going to be a win. But yeah, I look at some of the players on this Haiti squad who are playing some regular minutes, especially Etienne Jr. who's playing for Columbus or Nashville. I'm trying to remember who it is in MLS.
One of the yellow teams.
Yeah, one of the two yellow teams in MLS. And yeah, now so these guys are getting some regular minutes. He scored. Etienne scored just in his last MLS match, I want to say.
Okay.
I think so, or at least recently. He's at least scored once or twice this season, this MLS season already. So these are guys that are coming in some type of form. But I just think that we have players of enough quality to shut them down, even on their home turf. It's going to be as Andy Petriel said, it's squeaky bum time, and it's going to be squeaky bum time this game even more. Like it took until after the 15th minute for my butt to unclench there. And I think it's going to be pretty clenched all Saturday's match. It's hilarious. So it's my daughter's first birthday this Saturday.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And luckily enough, we have it scheduled from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. because she generally goes down for a nap after 2. And it just so happens kickoff is at 3. So I'm just like, soccer gods.
No, it works out nicely. Yeah. And I misspoke earlier. I said 3 Eastern. I meant 3 Mountain. It changed to my time. So 5 Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific on One Soccer on Saturday is like 1. It's the first leg. You're right that I am concerned about. Just the conditions. Nothing is going to be in our favor. Absolutely nothing. So if we can get an away goal, even if it's in a draw, even a 0-0 draw, I think I would be okay with, because I think you go back to, they're going to play in Bridgeview again, where they played against Suriname. And I think on neutral turf, all things being equal, I think Canada gets a 2-0 win in the return leg. And
I agree.
I mean, could you imagine what it would be like if they were able to play in Toronto or Vancouver or anywhere in Canada? Like I think it would be even more. So it's just a matter of getting through that first leg in a manageable situation to go home, quote unquote, and then take care of business in Bridgeview.
And it's our advantage too, having the second leg in home for us is massive. If it was flipped and we were playing the first match in Chicago and then had to go down there for the second leg, then it's nervy, because then Haiti parks the bus that first game and then really comes at us at home, and that would be nervy. But they're going to have to be a little bit more open in their play at home. And you just hope that, I just want us to unleash the fury of Fonzie upon them. I want Fonzie to get on the ball and just annihilate these guys, like make them understand who they're playing. Because we can be arrogant right now because we have an international X factor, and I don't care anymore. I'm going to be arrogant. And I'm going to say, you need to all the Haitians that may watch, you need to understand who you're about to play.
I don't,
because we got a boy who's going to rip y'all new asshole
watching. You never know.
You come at me on Twitter. You'll find my Twitter handle. You come at me on Twitter and we'll chat.
The Suriname folk found a lot of the Canadian media and fans on Twitter too, and they weren't shy about letting them know pre-game. Obviously, post-game they probably got their tails more between their legs now. But I'm worried. Like you said, you want Fonzie to go at them in that first leg. I'm just worried that the pitch isn't going to be really playable for that style. If it's going to be so waterlogged and it's going to be so slow, I just think that really works to the Haitians' advantage because, as we saw at the Gold Cup, it was physical. They won on their physicality. We couldn't keep up with it. They outmuscled us. We tried to be finessey, ticky-tacky, kind of, like what suits our style, I think, right now anyway. And it just didn't work. Well, it did until the wheels fell off the bus. But it'll be interesting to see how we go after it.
We had, the difference between that Gold Cup match and this upcoming tie is our fullbacks. We have absolute lights out fullbacks. I would start Sammy Adekugbe at left back, and I would play a 4-3-3 with a Fonzie, David, Laren front three in that, left, center, right.
Right.
Left, center, right. I got to make sure I'm doing it right for the camera. Yeah, in midfield, probably Piet, Mac, and, Osorio didn't look like he was 100% on pace in the Suriname match. So I'm struggling to think who else I would have. I would probably have Piet, Mac, and who was in midfield for us yesterday?
Good question. I can't really remember. Yeah, so was.
We were playing the 3-5. We were playing the 3-5-2. So we had, and really, it was a 3-2-3-2 is what it was.
Right.
With the wing backs. So we had Osorio in midfield. Well, maybe a guy like David Wotherspoon. Because he's been fantastic. I might go Wotherspoon, Mac, and Piet. Just to really control that midfield. And then at the back. Well, I think I would probably go Sam Adekugbe at left back. Definitely Richie Laryea at right back. I mean, my God, what another guy. Like, how has he not made the move to Europe?
He's just shooting up exponentially. Yeah.
And I mean, he plays so fantastically well for Canada. I mean, we are so lucky to have him, another player. I mean, we got so many great players in this squad right now. It's fantastic. Anyway, and center back pairing, I think I would probably go Henry and maybe Kennedy, because Kennedy is really showing up right now. He's been really fantastic. Played all of his minutes, and even though it was Bundesliga 2, still he was starting every match. Was man of the match a number of times for Regensburg. I don't think Vitoria is a good option against Haiti, because Vitoria can get caught out on pace, and Henry can get caught out on pace too, but that's maybe why you have a guy like Kennedy.
Right.
Who won't necessarily get caught out on pace. I think that is kind of my starting 11. Although, man, I'd really have to look at it. Like, there's just so, Herdman has a great and difficult issue in having to choose his starting 11s.
Yeah,
like, it's such a great problem to have. But it's tough. Like,
for sure.
Hats off to him for making his choices to date, because it's been tough. I never know exactly who I would start, but I think that would be my 11. And then, I might, do we go with Max or do we go with Milan? This might be Milan's last cycle for us. So maybe
I was going to say, Crepeau's not in the camp. Remember, he was.
Oh,
or did he get called in? Yeah, because Dane was in.
St. Clair and Pantemis?
Yeah, James, Pantemis, yeah.
Well, it's Milan without question then. It's Milan without question. I don't think you can go with either Dane St. Clair or James Pantemis at this point. You have to go with Milan.
Right.
So, at least goalkeeper's pretty solidified for for at least these games. Maybe come the fall, if Max is getting more is fully match fit with the Whitecaps and doesn't break a digit.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, it is tough for Herdman right now, but I think the 4 matches over the 11 days is what it's going to be, is really good, because if you usually bring in a squad of 23 or whatever for 2 matches, and most of the guys don't see any minutes or whatever. This one, like the 11 for Suriname, was basically completely different than the 11 for Aruba. So everybody's been able to play, and you need that, especially with as many matches, plus, club time. I'm sure the clubs are like, hey, don't play our guys, all the time. So it's actually, I think this 23 is probably really happy to be there, because they know that, everybody is going to see the pitch probably at some point, maybe with the exception of St. Clair and Pantemis. So yeah,
St. Clair started for
Did
us
he?
against Aruba. Yeah.
Aruba? Okay, yeah. See, again,
Yeah.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah,
So
Pantemis. I don't know. I don't know if Pantemis will see any. Well, he won't.
Probably
Just,
not, no.
unless like Milan and Dane somehow injure each other in training. It's probably the only way that Pantemis sees
knock on wood that doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah. That I was scared after that bastard Ryan Donk put his shoulder into Fonzie's face after the first goal.
Right.
I was worried. I'm like, oh man, because he went down like right when he ran to the sideline. Basically, he went down holding his face, and I was like, oh no, like please don't actually be something serious like a broken cheek or broken orbital bone. Something that keeps him out of this upcoming tie. But we've been real fortunate that Fonzie's been an Iron Man too. So wow, what a player.
He's
what
good.
A player.
So just going over to wrap things up nicely, just going over the schedule now for the men and the women. The women have two friendlies over in Europe as well. So on June 11th, that's the Friday, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So an early morning one for the West Coasters. The women will play the Czech Republic. That's on One Soccer. Haiti versus Canada, the first leg, 5 Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific on Saturday, June 12th. Then on Monday, June 14th, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. That's Brazil versus Canada's women. That one should be interesting. That one's going to be over in Spain as well. And then to top it all off, on Tuesday, June 15th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That's the second leg, Canada-Haiti in Bridgeville, Illinois. So great time to watch some Canada soccer. You can catch it all on One Soccer as well. Speaking of One Soccer, that's where you can watch the Canadian Premier League. And Sally, we have a schedule. We have a plan. June 26th, things kick off. Atletico Ottawa against FC Edmonton in a bubble in Winnipeg, of all places. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern. We've seen the first 8 matches. It's going to be East versus West to reduce some travel when everybody goes home, hopefully after this first month of being in Winnipeg. What do you make of the plan put out by the Canadian Premier League here?
Yeah, no, I think it's all right. I mean, a lot of people were lambasting the fact that they were going to Winnipeg, considering that Manitoba has one of the roughest set of COVID numbers right now. But I think everybody's vaccinated, and I think that makes a huge difference at this point. So I expect some really good matches. I'm actually a little bit happy that both Forge and York United are going to be coming in a little colder than everybody else. I'd really like to see Forge get shellacked, and York too. I hate them both.
Just no bones about it.
Yeah. I'd love to see the Eddies actually, do something. Be nice to see them score.
They may win a game.
They might win a game. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I didn't think. I mean, that it wasn't allowed when Jeff was managing. But now that Jeff has moved on to bigger and better things, that rule's been dropped. So that's good. So hopefully they'll actually take advantage of it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good idea too, the way they've set up the schedule. I was worried when they said everyone was going to play 8 matches. It was kind of going to be everybody plays each other once, and then you double up on somebody. But this way you get a lot of the cross-country travel games out of the way, and then when we can finally, fingers crossed again, be back in stadiums, end of July, early August, when teams are back in their home markets. I don't know, they might even take a 2-week break there, just because it's 2 matches a week for the first month, which is a lot. So they might take a bit of a break. Anyways, you'll get a lot of FC Edmonton Cavalry. You'll get a lot of York Forge. You'll get a lot of the quote unquote rivalries in the league, which should help. Which should help drive some of the gates too for those that are allowed to go. So I think they did really well there. And again, most of the matches they have a double headers, usually Saturday, Sunday, and then usually Wednesday, Thursday. I think there's like one match that's on a Tuesday for some reason. I don't know why. It's just what happened, but it's pretty consistent. And the kickoff times are generally the same as well, which makes me wonder if they're not going to try to slide some of the games on CBC or something again, particularly the weekend ones. So we'll have to wait and see those details.
Well, I'm really crossing my fingers that we don't see any injuries.
Yes.
Considering they're going to be playing at IG on artificial turf, I'm really hoping that the turf monster doesn't eat anybody. That's a lot of matches to have in a short period of time. So yeah, everybody just keep all your fingers and toes crossed, not only for Canada but for CPL players to not get too knocked up from. That was a terrible way of putting it, but not take too many knocks from from these opening matches. So
if they got knocked up, that's a whole other conversation.
that is, then we're living inside.
Yeah. But I would imagine they could take advantage of, since obviously there's been no university going on, they'll be able to take advantage of the facilities at the U of M, even the University of Winnipeg as well. And they have a soccer complex in Winnipeg that I'm sure they'll be able to use for training and stuff, a lot of grass pitches. So I think in terms of training, they'll be all right. Although when you play twice a week, you're not going to have a whole bunch of actual training sessions. So
yeah, it's just gonna be conditioning. It's gonna be just keeping everybody loose, more than anything, So I also hope that we don't see some real sloppy soccer, which I don't think we really saw at the Island Games. I thought the games were pretty decent caliber. But this has been a long layoff and a fairly quick announcement, and Sergio Camargo did help things a little bit by spilling the beans, which is
quickly
nice.
Becoming one of my favorite players. Just the way he's on Twitter at the league, and I love it. The players deserve to be informed a little bit more. So
yeah, completely. I mean, it's ridiculous that they waited this long to announce anything. I'd be very curious what I's were yet to be dotted and T's yet to be crossed that forced them to have to wait until basically 3 weeks beforehand. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I know the teams have generally been training, but hopefully the teams knew sooner, but it doesn't sound like it. I mean, if Camargo is leaking info, then it sounds like nobody knew. So
he might not have known, but Cavalry's been training. The only two clubs that weren't training were York and Forge, and I'm sure that they found a way around to do at least a little bit of something. And I know Ottawa came back from Spain, so they had to quarantine for the 2 weeks or however long it is. Might be shorter depending on what the current rules were when they came back and if they got exemption, blah, blah, blah. But so they would have been sitting around for a little while too, Ottawa, but at least they would have had, weeks of training under their belt. So we'll see what happens when everything kicks off on June 26th. It should be interesting. And thank God we've got it back, because we've been waiting for a long time. So
can we talk kits real quick?
I was just going to say, we got some kit news too. So they announced the community kits is what the 2021 I guess primary collection is going to be called. Everyone is going to use those Black City Edition kits from last year as their alternates, with the exception of York United, who obviously rebranded. They've got that blue and green strip kit, so which looks pretty sharp. Let's go coast to coast. We'll start with Halifax. They've got the rampant lion with the St. Andrew's crosses making it up, and obviously their classic Wanderers blue on blue. What just a quick couple of lines on each kit as we go here. Sally, what do you make of Halifax? Does it get a yay or nay from you?
It gets a yay. It's a nice looking kit. I like it. I mean, it's tough to be able to ruin a blue on blue, in my opinion, unless you have viciously clashing blues, but it's not. It's a nicely put together kit. Is it special in any way? I don't know. I like the Scottish lion from the Nova Scotia flag they have embossed on there, and the details are all right. I've yet to be really blown away by a Wanderers kit, but they're not bad. So I mean, there's something that would be perfectly fine to add to your collection.
Yeah, no, I would give it a pass as well. I like the little sublimated touches. We'll talk about a couple more of them, but I like this one, and I like that it's made up of the St. Andrew's cross. It's a real ode to the Nova Scotian flag as well. And I believe on the back, it has the together from a ways as well on the lower back there. So I was gesturing to my lower back, which nobody can see, which doesn't really help anyone. But let's move to Atletico Ottawa. Okay, it looks like Atletico Madrid. Surprise, surprise. But the red stripes have the interlocking O's for Ottawa, which is a nice little touch. What do you think?
Yeah, so here's the key thing that has actually changed with Atleti is the blue. They've darkened the blue. to match the badge. So this one gets an applause for me.
Absolutely.
Very happy to see that they're not just an Atletico Madrid clone, but they actually have matching color scheme to what their badge colors are. And I noticed that immediately. I thought, I'm totally okay with them kind of carrying the Atletico Madrid kind of branding underneath it all, if they at least are going to be willing to allow them to have their own variation. And the dark and blue, I think, is exactly what was needed. I was so disappointed with their kit.
Yes.
Their first kit for the Island Games, just basically being an Atletico Madrid top with the Atletico Ottawa badge sewn onto it is all it was, and yeah, so I think it is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, it's the Atletico Madrid look is classic for a reason, and there was a reason it stuck. Yeah, so I mean, there you go. Ottawa gets a pass from me as well. Let's talk Forge. It's orange. I love that they're going full orange, and it's got the little sublimated dragon in there with the sparks, with the Forge. I personally love the dragon look. I think it's awesome. So I really like that Forge kit. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. First thing I'll say is, they stuck with the orange. It's it's part of their identity that is a unique thing in not only the league, but you don't see a lot of orange clubs in world football. And so, yeah, that I still wish they had gone with the gold and black to kind of carry on with Hamilton Sport colors, but I understand that they were looking to break some new ground, and yeah, they've stuck with like a full orange with a little bit of the steel gray coming through the neckline. And yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool having the dragon, the Sparky dragon on it. So they're pushing that. The dragon mascot, which I think his name is Sparky, isn't it?
Something
I can't recall.
That,
something like that. Yeah, right now any of our Hamilton listeners are just smacking their head against
they already hate you because you don't like their club, so it's fine.
Yeah, but I don't mind the jersey, so
there's a
little give and take here, or who goes in.
So as we move a little bit away from Hamilton, we have York United. My first thought when I saw this was Northern Ireland called and they want their kit back, because it looks like a Northern Irish kit, but
doesn't it?
It's really sharp. I like it. And in the stripes, it has, was it from one, a community, and then it also has that in Latin as well. And I believe is both on there in the blue and the green. So I think it looks sharp. It gets a yay for me.
Yeah. So I'll start off with the white one, and it's nice with sort of the coming across and down.
Yeah.
With the badge right at the heart of where it crosses. Yeah, it's neat. I'm glad. I wonder, if they're going to maybe try and stick to some, using the blue and green lines on a white kit to sort of be their signature. I'm really, really big on clubs making sure that they have a signature look, because I think that is something that's really been lacking in North American football, is that you don't have enough genuine signature looks, or if you do, then they've basically been stolen from another club.
Yeah,
Atleti and New York City FC is two prime examples, but from their parent club for that matter. And so I'm curious if York United's going to stay with that type of look. I like it. Do I think it's amazing? Well, I mean, it's nice. It doesn't totally blow me away. But I want to actually just go over to their blue and green striped kit, and I think that's a beauty.
That's love the one that came out in December. Yeah.
That's actually my favorite of all the new kits right now, is that the blue and green striped one. That really caught my eye. I'm like, finally somebody is really making a good statement with a kit for their club. Foreshadowing, I can't wait till we get to Calgary, because I'm going to speak on that again. But,
for sure.
Let's continue.
I like the blue. It's funny, when the blue and green one came out, the first thought immediately, because I'm from Swift Current, that area, was the Swift Current Broncos. That's what it looked like to me, because it's those same shades of blue and green. But anyways, Valor, they've got like the half maroon, half white. And you know what? I'm kind of digging it. I like that look. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that type of color white.
Yeah.
I like that. In fact, I even love when the top is actually quartered, kind of like your Blackburn Rovers.
Oh, yeah.
Wickham had a quarter. I really love the quartered look. So I'm actually almost wishing they'd gone with a quartered look, but I still I love the, I remember I created a team in like back, I think it was FIFA 12 that had the club creator or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And you could create your jersey and everything. And I remember I created a Saskatoon United team, it was called, and it was red, black, the exact same pattern as what Valor's done. And I'm not huge on the maroon color that Valor uses. I don't know. It's not like
It's not everyone's favorite color, right? Like just the
yeah.
color itself.
I'm wearing like a kind of
burgundy-ish. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, but which is funny because I love the color of the shirt, but I'm not a huge fan of that maroonish color that they use for their primary color. But yeah, I think it's a great. I think it's a good looking kit.
The maroon has some wheat sheaths as well, sublimated
Yes.
into it as well, which looks
Yeah,
pretty
that's
sharp.
right. Yeah.
FC Edmonton decided to go with the denim look. Company here in the city made jeans for the longest time. It's a throwback to them. It kind of a little bit of that denim wash. It's an Eddie's kit. It's blue and it's pretty, basic. It's not one of their best in my opinion, but it works. The button down collar is different too as well.
Yeah, the Eddies seem to keep jumping back and forth between sort of that more vibrant blue that their 10th anniversary kit was, and this sort of darker blue, this sort of denim-y type look.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
With the two. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of go back and forth. So I mean, that's kind of interesting that they're able to use the two shades of blue in that way. I really like that 10th anniversary kit.
Yes.
I that to me is still a kit that is one to put any other of the league kits up against to see if they're actually that great or not. It's sort of a standard bearer. That in Calvary's first season kit, even though everybody complains about the red, I actually didn't mind it. But yeah, I mean it's a nice looking kit, and it's kind of got a little bit of a neat, unique look, having that denim look. So. Yeah, no issues. Again, it's kind of like the Wanderers kit. Like it's not bad. It's not amazing. It's good.
Yeah. It's got the Rally Rabbit on the back of the collar, which will make all the fans here happy. You did want to speak to Cavalry, and that's where we'll go next. We have James McLeod on the front, and we have Fort Calgary, which is not really, something super exciting when it's kind of sublimated like that on the back. It's red. I know you were a big sash guy. You love the white sash, the Peru look. What do you think of this one?
I am so disappointed that they have gotten rid of the sash. And I don't care what anybody says about the whole, they just look like Peru. But I'm sorry, like that is Cavalry's signature look. They have the sash. And why you would move away from that, I do not know. Because even last the Island Games kit had sort of the stylized sash that was happening, right? You could see it, the white. And yeah, it's just yeah, I'm really disappointed with this one. I also hear that Colonel James McLeod might have some controversial history behind him as well. That
the timing is horrible for that.
Yeah, that maybe there should be a little bit more thought into what was being put on it, but or who I should say maybe was being put on it. But yeah, it's a total. This one's a complete fail for me. They got rid of the sash. I hate it.
There you go. It's for me, it's probably the weakest of the group because they had such a good look and they've kind of gone away with it. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I hate it, but I don't really care for it at all. Last one, Pacific. It's pretty much solid purple, a little bit of trim, but it's a two-tone purple as it got waves as they kind of ripple up from the bottom up, and they get kind of thinner and thinner as you would pretend there's ripples in the water. You drop a stone, watch it go out. So it's okay. Again, I think I just don't like that the purple. For me, I just don't like the color.
But I really like the color.
Right.
And I know that the effect on the front between the two shades of purple is to mimic what the ocean floor looks like when the waves washing. It gets sort of ripply type
sand on the bottom. Yeah.
The sand. Yeah. And that's neat. I think there's some good thought put into that. I don't know. I again, it's actually probably one of my favorites of these new ones. I think it looks really, really good. If I was to rate them, I'd probably put Atletico Ottawa's first because I really like the candy stripes, and then I might go Pacific, and then probably might even go Forage for third.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say. Like it's not plain, but it's not bizarre.
Yeah, I don't think any of the kits missed. I don't think there was any massive misses.
Cavalry missed.
Which I guess
Cavalry
is,
missed.
okay.
Cavalry missed big time. That's a big miss.
Right.
Big miss.
But for a collective group, I think Macron and the league, they did pretty good. So we'll give them that. It's and like I said about the purple with Pacific, like I like that they're going with it, but it's like I might take flack for it, but like the Blue Jays going with the baby blues, I just don't like that color. But everyone loves it. I'm just in the minority. I just don't like the color. That's just a personal thing. But anyways, so there you go. Kit chat. I know everybody was looking forward to that. So Sally, I think we've reached our time. I think you're gonna go up for a kickabout tonight, aren't you?
I am. First time in over 2 years. I'm gonna go for a little kickabout. I don't know if it's gonna be real tiny, like 4-on-4, or if we're maybe gonna have like a little 7-on-7, but it's like a little co-ed kickabout. I finally managed to get my way onto a co-ed team for our outdoor season for adult is a June season and a July to the middle of September season.
Right.
And I found my way onto a co-ed team who I'm going to do the kickabout with here for that second half of the season.
Nice.
And then this year, so the way that adult co-ed normally works in the city is that it's all actually indoors in the summer on the artificial turf fields.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's a long story behind that. It deals with Saskatoon minor football and how they use the outdoor turf anyway. But yeah, these games are all outdoors on grass at Forest Park, where there are no hidden sprinkler heads.
Right. They'll save your ankle this time around.
Yeah, believe me. Yeah, so that's exciting. I'm a little nervous. I drank a full glass of Gatorade here to try to get the fluids up and not cramp up to death. Get out there and have my calf turn inside out. I gotta go and I gotta find all my gear and get all my gear together.
It is that time. So Sally, always appreciate your insight. Hopefully we have JP back next time. Find him, Jeff D. Salisbury on Twitter. Find me at Greyson Knudsen. At the Cynical Channel 1 is the podcast handle, and search Cynical Challenge on YouTube, Spotify, and all your favorite catchers. Sally, good luck with your kickabout. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you then.